Hey everybody, good morning. So thank you so much for joining the webinar today. So we are excited to kick off the OrangeHRM Live Demo plus the Q&A. So in today's session, we are gonna dive into some of the features the OrangeHRM can help you to manage the chat processes better. And we are thrilled to share these features with you, and hope you are excited as we are. So joining us today is our Associate VP of Sales, Matt. I'm pretty sure you've seen him before, and who's handling the demo. So I'll be here just to answer any questions. And one important thing, before I hand it over to him, if you have any questions during the webinar, do feel free to drop them into the chat box. We'll be addressing them as we go along. And some of these questions will be answered at the end of the webinar as well. And also, the other thing to note is if we are unable to answer your question during the webinar due to the time constraints, we'll definitely address those separately out to you. All right, and thank you for being here again. Matt, over to you.
Thanks, Nilan. Hello and good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here today. As Nilan mentioned, my name is Matt, and I'm Associate VP of Sales here at OrangeHRM. Some of you may likely know me, but for those who are meeting us for the first time, thank you very much for joining, and it's nice to meet you. Just before I forget to mention this, if anything goes unanswered today, or if you'd like to meet with us more personally and have a personalized demonstration or meeting of any kind, please reach out to us at sales@orangehrm.com. We'll certainly reach back out to you and set up a time to meet with you directly. So today, just to quickly walk through the agenda, we're going to do a quick introduction to OrangeHRM, again, for those who are new. And even for those who are coming back, I'm sure there are some facts and details that you may not be aware of. So happy to do a quick introduction about OrangeHRM, who we are, who we typically serve as well, what our key clients are, the types of businesses that we typically work with. I want to take some time to go over that as well. We'll jump into some of our core modules and our core value that we provide for our customers, right? So within our OrangeHRM core modules and our ROI capabilities or the ROI that we tend to provide for our clients. Then the bulk of today's presentation is going to be in a demo of our core features, right? So we're not going to cover everything in our platform. There's certainly a lot to cover, but we'll cover some of the main features that tend to be used by the majority of our clients. And then we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. So that's what we're looking to cover here today. So hope you enjoy it. And again, as Nilan mentioned, during the Q&A, we'll definitely take some time to go through your questions. So please save your questions for the end. You can enter them into the chat as they come up, but we'll definitely take some time to address them towards the end of the presentation here today. Oops, jumping ahead too far. Okay, so quickly, who is OrangeHRM? So we are a technology company that offers HRIS solutions for our clients around the world. We've been around since 2005, so a good long time as far as software companies go these days. Since 2005, we've grown to have 9 global offices and over 200 employees worldwide. Personally, I'm in nice and sunny but cool Toronto, Canada here this morning. OrangeHRM is known for our world-class support and our regional customer success teams, right? So one of the ways that we differentiate from our competitors in the market is a really personal touch, not just in the sales process, but most definitely within the implementation and ongoing support process, right? So if you visit our website, you go to our testimonials page, you'll see countless stories of our clients talking about our implementation process, talking about our ongoing support services that we provide. So that's one thing that we aim to do always better and better all the time. And our clients are located around the world in 190 countries. We've actually only just this week added, I think, another 3 clients in 3 different countries around the world. So that presence is growing continuously. So who do we work with? Well, that's a good question. We work with very small businesses of 5 to 10 employees, all the way up to very large businesses of several thousand employees spanning multiple countries. And the mix of clients within there is quite broad as well. We work with private sector, public sector, nonprofit, financial services, higher education, technology, and the list goes on. Especially lately, a ton of retail, manufacturing, hospitality, and healthcare are some of the areas that we've been growing pretty significantly over the last 3 or 4 years. And again, this has been pretty much geographically distributed evenly across the globe. So we're growing in all regions, which is fantastic, and we're growing in all verticals and industries as well. So a good mix of clients and a good group of different businesses that we tend to work with in different areas of the world. So what does OrangeHRM do? Well, quite a lot, really. But I'd say just in terms of what our core modules are, we like to look at it as people management, talent management, compensation, and culture, right? So people management is really the day-to-day operational things that HR tends to manage from an administrative standpoint. Employee information and data, reporting and analytics, quick access through things like our mobile application, and so forth. That's really kind of the core feature or core module that we tend to offer. And other modules are divided sort of in the operational aspects of a company across talent management, compensation, and culture. So talent management encompasses recruiting and onboarding primarily, and some features from our Quest Desk, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Compensation is really leave management, time attendance, and roster or scheduling, as some may refer to it as. And then culture is really performance, career development, training, surveys, employee voice or employee feedback, and discipline. So those are some of the modules that roll into the culture aspect of our product. And the great thing is our clients can pick and choose from the features that they want to be licensed for. You can leave the rest behind. No two clients are alike. So the way we service each client is very, very different. So you can pick 1 or 2 features, or you can pick every feature in our platform, depending on your needs. And you can always add features as your needs change over time. So we have a really flexible way that we go about licensing and supporting licensing our product and supporting our clients. So OrangeHRM ROI. So, we're really able to help our clients in many different ways. I think the primary way that we tend to help our clients is removing the administrative burden from HR teams so they can get back to helping or supporting the employees that they serve more strategically, right? So there's a lot of things that we can do to eliminate the use of spreadsheets, Google Drives, paper forms, etc. In terms of streamlining things like the hiring process or performance appraisals, we see our clients exhibiting significant cost savings in these areas by reducing the time, reducing turnover, shortening the time to hire, reducing employee turnover, certainly unwanted employee turnover, etc. So there's a lot of different areas in which we can increase or provide significant ROI for our clients, and happy to discuss that further with everyone on an individual basis. Right? So some great stories there to tell. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into the OrangeHRM demo. Just before I do that, as mentioned previously, we're going to cover the core modules today. There are some other features that we don't, that won't be covered in today's demo, just because if we were to show everything in the application, that's quite a lot, and we'd take more than half hour or 45 minutes of your time. So we want to focus on some core areas, and those ones that we're going to do today is the OrangeHRM core module, so the employee database, dashboards, etc. We'll cover some of the more frequently purchased and licensed modules like leave management, performance management and career development, recruiting and onboarding, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. So in terms of other things that we're not going to cover today, there's a lot more that's available. So I just want to highlight that quickly here today. So the Request Desk, really great feature, which is like a tool set to create different things like hiring requisitions, various types of employee requests, and so forth. There's a lot you can do in Request Desk, but too much to cover here today. Roster or scheduling. So of course, this is a pretty complex feature that we can't cover in a demo like this today, but it's a fantastic module that many of our clients are already leveraging. It's only about 6 months old at this stage, but it's coming along nicely, and it's been very well adopted so far. We've got a fantastic training module that's really a delivery mechanism for training courses that you can administer to your employees. Our surveys tool as well. We have a free surveys tool that's included in the base package, but we have a Surveys Pro module that's available to be licensed that unlocks some additional capabilities for surveys that we won't cover today. Employee Voice is a great module for employee feedback. So you can, have anonymous feedback sent in or non-anonymous feedback sent in. So just an area to cover different use cases to get feedback from employees for different reasons. Discipline tracking, another great module that's relatively new, as well as time tracking. Time tracking actually is used quite heavily for things like clocking in, clocking out, timesheets, payroll reports, etc. But we're not going to cover that today because it's, as I said, there's a lot to cover. So some things we wanted to kind of really keep focused on here today. But certainly if any of these areas are of interest to you, whether you're new to OrangeHRM and meeting us for the first time, or if you're an existing client and you may not be familiar with some of these features, please reach out to us after the meeting at sales@orangehrm.com, and we'll definitely reach out to discuss these things in more detail with you. Okay, so with that, just quickly back to our agenda. So these are the items we're going to cover today. So now I'm going to jump into our demonstration here. Okay, so let's kick things off. All right, so for today's demo, our host is going to be Jacqueline here. So Jacqueline is the main, let's call her the global administrator in my demo environment here. Now, Jacqueline is let's call her, she's the CHRO in my demo company. My demo company here is about 190 employees across, I think, 6 or 7 different countries. So it's a bit of an international setup here that we use. Now, the key thing to remember here is Jacqueline, as a global administrator, she has full access to data and processes in the software. So she's able to see and do things that most employees are not. Now, in most cases, not all, but certainly in most cases, all of your employees would have a login and password to OrangeHRM to perform different functions. But based on who that person is, their access to data and processes could be very restricted certainly compared to Jacqueline, who's a global administrator. Okay, so we can talk more about things like permission levels and access levels and roles, etc., in a more personalized presentation. But Jacqueline's role is the most broad and widely accessible role within the application form. The left-hand side navigation are all the different modules that are available in OrangeHRM. So as you can see, it's quite a long list. And certainly in my demo environment, every feature is activated. Now, the first thing any employee sees when they log in is their dashboard, right? So my dashboard is something that's configurable. So I can move these windows around as I see fit, or I can remove some of these windows for a more simplified view. So if I want to have a really busy dashboard, I can do so. Or if I want to have a really simplified dashboard, I can do that as well. And I can configure my preferences of widgets or these windows in the sidebar or admin configurations here. So certainly OrangeHRM serves as an employee portal for Jacqueline and for all employees. So here we can post things like company news, latest news updates, documents, things like your HR policies, employee handbook, etc., so that all employees can come here and view and access these things on an as-needed basis. For Jacqueline, she's also got a list of her My Actions. This is like her to-do list. So anything that's pending her, to take some sort of action, like approve a leave request, onboard a new employee, complete a performance appraisal, maybe an upcoming interview with a new candidate, etc., she'll be able to see and keep track of in her My Actions list. Some other things she might see on her dashboard are things like which employees are on leave today, which is always a nice thing to view and manage here as well. She can look at things like reports. She can create and publish reports that she might want to have quick access to on her dashboard. And I've done a few of those here just as examples, right? So a lot of configuration options are available for you so you can personalize your experience within the application. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to jump into here after our dashboard, and just a quick note, a few additional features available off the dashboard are things like the employee directory, so you can quickly look up people's contact details if you need to reach out to someone, Orange Buzz, which is a great social media tool where you could post social updates about the organization, and the org chart, right? So a nice way to view the company structure, hierarchy, etc. So I won't get into these features too much, but they're great features that are available as standard features within the core module itself. So moving on, let's have a quick look at what an employee profile looks like in OrangeHRM. So this is within the employee management module, and we're currently on the profile of one employee here, Otis. So this is Jacqueline viewing Otis's employee files and records, all right? So every employee is going to have a profile within the database, and that profile is going to have a number of different pages on it. As you can see across the top, I've got personal details, job, salary, and more. And when I click more, there's some additional tabs that open up here, right? So just quickly, this is a quick view of Otis, basic information. When did he start? What's his contact details? Does he have any leave scheduled coming up? Is he working on any projects or timesheets or goals, etc.? So it's a nice quick overview, even quick links to past performance appraisals, development plans, and so forth. But the remaining tabs include the rest of the data about this employee. So for example, on this next tab here, I've got personal details, which is going to manage kind of basic information about this employee, right? What's their name, their address, date of birth, etc. So these are all standard fields that are available in OrangeHRM, but I can also create custom fields as needed. And I've done one here as an example here for something like dietary restrictions, right? So if you're ever ordering lunch for the office and you need to know if someone could be a vegetarian or have any other dietary restrictions, you can let them complete information like this as part of their profile so that you can run a report and get this information quickly and easily. Another great example for something like custom fields would be if you have employees that have uniforms and you may need to track something like uniform size. You can do that through the use of custom fields. Some other tabs quickly, I'll just run you through a few. We've got the job tab, which is going to have general details about this person's employment, things like their join date, their location, their employment status, and so forth. I've got this sub tab that has historical details, like previous positions they may have held prior to their current position. So I've got all this detail for reporting and compliance tracking reasons. The salary tab will show me, how do we pay this employee? Are they a salary-based employee? Are they an hourly wage-based employee? Are there other earnings or deductions as part of their overall compensation package? I've also got historical details here. So when did this person get a raise or receive a bonus? Or maybe did they change any deductions that they may have calculated against their pay? So you have a full audit trail of any changes that have been made over time and the reasons why. And then when I click more, I've got a number of additional tabs here. So we certainly won't cover all of these today, but as you can see, it's a very rich database that it contains a lot of great information that you can track and customize and personalize for your own personal needs. The one section I may show you here is qualifications. This is where we track anything that needs to be noted, reminded, or perhaps updated. So I've got a lot of rich information in here, like previous work experience, education, skills, maybe even languages that this employee speaks. But anything like licenses, certificates, training, or certifications that may expire, so we can get email alerts or reports to make sure anything important like this doesn't get missed, and that we make sure that employees get things updated as needed. So a lot of great information can be tracked here as well. So on top of this great rich database that you can really customize and personalize to track all of the key important information you need, I have a fantastic reporting engine here that will let you create your own custom reports where you can leverage standard reports that are available in the software. I think 36 in all reports are going to be available, 38 or so. And then you can create your own on top of this, right? Which is a really fantastic tool. Our report building engine is really simple and easy to use to create your own reports or leverage existing reports. But on top of that, you can even leverage our Power BI connector, where we can build you more analytical reports, things like turnover dashboards, performance, general HR, and many others are going to be available to you leveraging our Power BI connector. So we provide a set of standard reports via Power BI, but also the ability to create your own custom reports within this framework as well. So a lot of great things on the reporting side. One feature I just wanted to highlight quickly as well on this is the ability to create a schedule for any given report. So you create a report in OrangeHRM, but someone might need to receive this report on a regular basis. Perhaps I want to create a schedule for something simple like employee birthdays. So in this case, I've created a report where department heads will get a report of anyone whose birthday it is, and they'll get a notification of that person's birthday on the day. Or you could set something up like this weekly. In fact, at our company, what we do is we have a monthly new hires report, and we send this out to a number of different teams that make sure that people have been onboarded correctly and that all orientation events have taken place the way they need to be. So you can create that type of report and leverage it and send it out to the requisite subscribers for anything like that as needed. Okay, so going back to our agenda, I've really kind of covered the OrangeHRM core module and some of the key capabilities there. I'm going to move on next to leave management. So leave management is a good one because it's something that our clients use on a regular basis. And I bet you I'm logged out here real quick. So I'm just going to do a quick refresh here and log back in as Brody. And what I'm showing you here is an ESS view, so employee self-service. So now I'm logged in as Brody, and Brody's on his dashboard, which certainly doesn't look too different to Jacqueline's that we'd previously looked in at. But some other widgets I wanted to highlight. You can have employees punch in or out via the mobile app or through the web browser here. Or Brody can do a number of other things that are available to him on his dashboard, right? And so most of what I'm going to show you here is also available on the mobile app, right? Many of you have employees that don't work in front of a desk. They oftentimes probably don't even have a work-issued laptop, so they leverage the mobile app to do 90% of what they would need to within OrangeHRM. So what we're going to have Brody do here today is apply for leave. So he's just on his home screen going to hit apply for leave. He's going to then choose the type of leave he'd like to apply for. We can configure this in hours or days, just as an FYI, but in my demo environment, this is configured as hours. So if he'd like to book a day of holiday, Brody can simply submit the request here by choosing the type of leave, choosing the day he'd like to apply for. For now, let's just do a single day, and then simply hitting apply. So now that request is going to be submitted and then can be reviewed by his supervisor or whoever needs to approve that request. So backing out of Brody's view here, I'm just going to go back to Jacqueline. So Jacqueline here, I've as the main administrator, I've made it so that she can review all leave requests, but typically we configure this as part of the workflow that's required for each client. So now I have a list of all current outstanding leave requests, and you can see Brody's request that we had just submitted a moment ago. Before I approve that, I may just want to go peek over at the leave calendar, and the leave calendar is going to show me, well, who else is on leave that day? I don't want to leave that department too thin on employees that day. So the leave calendar will give me a good view as to what I'd need to see for the day. Right? So from here, I can view, so what day did we apply for? Today was, there we go, there's Brody's request. And you can see that it is currently pending approval. And I can see that Grant, Lean, and Lincoln, and maybe some others are also on leave that day. Now, if there's no conflict here, I can go ahead and approve that request. But if half of Brody's team was out that day and I was a little unsure, I might go back to Brody and ask him to request a different day. But this is just a demo, so sure, let's go ahead and approve that request. So I'll go ahead and hit approve. So now Brody will be updated that his leave request was indeed approved, and the calendar will be updated with the status of approved or scheduled for that request. So pretty straightforward on that front. We do all the configuration on the back end for your leave accruals, carry forwards, and other rules that need to be applied so that on the front end, it's a really easy process to manage. Okay, so that's leave in a nutshell. Won't get into it too deep today, but again, as mentioned, if you have additional questions on how all that works, happy to jump into that with you in a more personalized demo. So next on our list then is going to be performance and career development. So we'll move on to that next. Okay, so here I'm on my performance page and I've got a list of all my current performance appraisals in progress or completed. But let's have a look at CC Bonaparte's review. So this is a review format that we tend to see quite often with our clients, and that's a 3-level review where the employee completes a self-appraisal. The supervisor then creates or completes an appraisal about the employee. And then a final reviewer will give an overall comment or rating based on the feedback from the previous two. So sometimes this could be the head of the department, of the employee and supervisor themselves. Maybe it's something that's a process that's controlled by HR, but however you need to set up, we can manage it. So oftentimes we see this 3-level review, but just of note, we can create a full 360 review that could include things like additional supervisors, perhaps peers, or even subordinates to give a bit of a broader view as needed and based on the processes that you may follow. But oftentimes I decided to demo from this 3-person review because oftentimes we see this. So what we're looking here as an annual review for CC, we've got 3 key areas in which we can review her, things like competencies, maybe goals or projects that she was working on throughout the year. And then in the 3rd section, we can also have a great an area for Q&A, so add questions to any given review. So this is the common structure that we often see in any given review, and we can run reviews based on whatever frequency that you may do, right? So oftentimes we see annual, biannual, or even quarterly reviews that are initiated and followed through in this process, but we also see even monthly reviews that are sometimes used by our clients. So a lot of different ways in which we can set this up in management based on how you may do things today. And so just a few quick notes on this. We can get really granular in this area by weighing different individual items or different categories with different percentage amounts. So in this case, this review has been set up as a 60% weighted towards competencies and 40% weighted towards goals, right? But we can certainly switch that or change it depending on the requirements of any given customer and how they might do reviews. Just as a carry forward here quickly, I wanted to take a moment to talk about goals and OKRs. So certainly, as I mentioned, many of our clients do, semi-annual review, quarterly reviews, or even annual reviews. But what happens between those periods? So maybe employees are working on specific objectives or goals. So this might be what one of those screens looks like. So for Brody in Q4 of this year, he had a number of different objectives that he was working on here. So you can track the progress of these things. You can see the overall completion at the moment of 16%. This is where an employee and a manager may sit down and have their one-on-one and discuss progress, leave comments, share feedback, and just make sure that things are on track, or if any support is needed for the employee, that can be provided in a timely manner, and make sure that everyone's aware of their goals and their expectations and transparency. So this is a great module or a great feature that a lot of our clients leverage to make sure that employees are on track and that everything is transparent. So from appraisals and goals, that's the sort of makes up the bulk of our performance management capabilities. Certainly we have other things like employee trackers and some other features that really enhance the performance experience and give you greater abilities to make sure that you're tracking and monitoring performance the way that you need to. But from that, we have also career development. So what career development is it's kind of the next step from a performance management standpoint, which allows us to look at 2 key things. One is at the end of a performance review period, we can look at the overall completion for our workforce. So let's look at everybody who's completed the performance appraisal in this cycle. How did people do? Did people score low, moderate, or high? And how did we rate them from a potential assessment? And just to show you what that looks like here, at the bottom of any performance appraisal, you can add this last question here. What's the potential assessment of this employee? Are they limited to their current role? Maybe a bad fit? Are they a good fit at their current level? Maybe someone we can move laterally or upward. Or is this employee a real rock star, totally highly capable to attain higher roles with a lot of upward mobility within the organization? So that's where this data comes in this career development in terms of the potential assessment axis of this report. So the 9-box matrix gives us a sense of who are our top performers within the organization and how do they compare compared to their peers. So you can see that here I've got 3 that fit that category, and I can see the underlying data that leads to that. And who are maybe the underperformers on the very opposite side, okay? And who is in between, etc., in all these different areas. And this gives us the basis, by the way, to take next steps. So which employees do we want to put on a track for promotion, and who are others that we may want to look at performance improvement plans or additional training opportunities. I can look at this report for the current year. I can look at it for past periods, etc. I can compare past to current and so forth. So a lot of great insights I can glean from this report. And then from there, I can build a development plan for an employee, right? So as mentioned, what is a development plan? Well, this could be a performance improvement plan. This could be the requirements for additional training. This could be a track forward for promotion. In this case, I've created a development plan for Tanya, who's currently a software architect, but she's doing very well. And we'd like to outline some targets for her development so that she can improve and be promoted to the next position. So I've created a few development goals for her to be better in her current role, and some other goals that she needs to hit before we can promote her to that future role. And we can see how she's tracking towards those things. And then some others we can categorize just as general that may not be tied to the first or second area. So a lot of great insights that we can glean from this, and a great, again, way to exhibit transparency and make sure that employees can see the path forward for them, whether it's additional training or possible promotions and so forth. So a really great tool to leverage as the end of the performance process to really detail for employees what's next in their development and what's next in their future plans with the organization. Okay, so now we've covered our core modules: leave management, performance, and career development. So last but not least, we're going to cover recruitment and onboarding. So for that, I'm going to switch over. I've got a few other screens open here. Okay, so in OrangeHRM recruitment, one area I'm not going to cover today is the requisition process. So certainly we can create a requisition that could require approval. So once you get the necessary approval process in place, designated individuals would then be able to create vacancies within the application. And when you add a vacancy, you can post it to your website, certainly, or you can post it to third-party job boards like LinkedIn, Monster, Jubal, etc., and some others that are going to be available to you as well. But today I'm going to have a look at one vacancy here, this vacancy here for sales manager. I'm going to show you first off, how do we set up that vacancy, and then what do we do from there? So when I create a vacancy, for one, I can create one from scratch, or I can leverage an existing template to do things quicker in the future. But there's going to be this walkthrough step-by-step screen that's going to result in the job posting. So first thing first, what is the vacancy info, right? So that's going to be the name of the vacancy and how it might appear on a job board or on your website, what the job title is going to be, who's going to be involved in the hiring process, specifically the hiring managers, what location is this for, and how many positions are going to be relevant for this. So maybe this is for one, maybe it's for several, etc. Right? From there, I'm going to go to the vacancy workflow. Oops, let me just move here. Okay, so the vacancy workflow is going to give me an opportunity to determine what are the interviews that we're going to follow for this process. As you can see here, what I've built is a pretty simple one. Application received is going to be the first step. We're going to have a shortlisted step for people that meet the right criteria. And then we're going to bring the shortlisted candidates through the interview process, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about this. Now, this is just what I've created in my demo environment. You can create any different type of workflow as needed, depending on how your process works, right? The number of interviews, who's going to be involved at each stage, who's going to be responsible for each interview, etc. So we can determine all of these stages as part of the workflow builder. Once we're satisfied with the workflow we've created, we then go ahead and build an application form, right? So there's going to be some standard fields that are going to appear on any application form, but certainly you can add any additional questions that you might need to add for this, like level of education, years of experience, and so forth. So you can build this as you see fit. From there, we have this element called smart screening. And what smart screening does is this allows us to determine the best fit based on answers that people may provide on their application form. So the classic example I like to use in this case is you're hiring for a delivery driver and you may have a question on the application form. do you have a valid driver's license? And if that person answers no, well, then clearly they're not a good fit to be a delivery driver for you. So you can automatically move those people out of your workflow. But conversely, if there are people that are especially good fits, you can automatically shortlist them based on the answers they've provided on their application form as well. So once you've set up the smart screening questions, we then go to our job posting. And this is where we're going to write up what we want to have appear in the job ad itself. So a description of the position, key responsibilities, qualifications, etc. And then from there, we can post this to our website, to our RSS feed, or to a number of different job boards that we may want to leverage as part of the hiring process. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to go back here to our candidates here. And one other feature I'd like to highlight here is that whenever we look at our candidate list for any different job. In fact, let me just go to the vacancies list itself and click on Sales Manager. So now I'm going to look at just the candidates for the Sales Manager position. We have this AI feature, and I'll talk a little bit more about our AI features in a few moments, that will read the job description, it will read the resume of the candidate, and it will tell you what's the job fit of this candidate: excellent, good, fair, or poor. Right? So that's another great tool that you can leverage to hopefully streamline your recruitment process and make sure that you're able to identify the best candidates as quickly as possible. Okay. So once, let's do a couple of things here quickly. I am going to take a candidate and fast forward this process a little bit. Let's take Kira because she is an excellent fit. A couple of things that we can do when I bring someone to the job offer stage. What that's going to do is give me the ability to create a job offer for that person. So I can enter in any details like the presumed join date for this candidate, what their employment status is going to be, what salary that we're going to offer this person, and so forth, right? So I'll just drop some sample data in here quickly. I'm going to add salary and so forth. But for brevity here, I'm going to skip forward and just move on this quickly here. So now that I've built that offer, a couple of things I can do that I won't cover in too much detail today. I can send an offer letter out to the candidate that she can then e-sign and bring back to us. But once she's accepted this job offer, we can then add her as an employee to the core system. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here quickly. So I'll click on Kira. So now she's hired, and I can add her as an employee. And when I add her as an employee, that's going to kick off a few processes within the software. One is called the Add Employee Wizard, which will make sure that we've transferred all the relevant data to the database itself, and we've created a rich profile for the candidate. And to skip forward here, I've already done that with another candidate here called Lucas. So we've added him to our system, but then we can initiate what's called the pre-boarding process. And what the pre-boarding process is going to send an email out to Lucas. So when I go ahead and do that here, I'll initiate this. And Lucas will receive an email with a temporary login and password, and then he can go in and fill out some additional information for us. A couple of things that can be done internally as well. We can launch a new hiring email out to our team. So HR can then take the information from Lucas and say, hey, Lucas is joining our team next month, and this is a little bit of information about Lucas. Lucas can even upload a video or fill in some self-introduction forms to tell us a little bit more about him, like what's his favorite movie, if he had one wish. This is actually something that we use internally that I've built into the demo environment, which is a lot of fun, just so we can get to know this new employee on a bit of a social aspect as well. But then certainly we can fill out some additional information, like we can learn reference details from Lucas if we need to complete a reference check before hire, any other personal details, emergency contacts. And this can be customized or tailored to make sure that we're grabbing all the information or getting all the uploaded or required information from the candidate. So let's say we need him to upload attachments or other details as part of the onboarding process. We're sure to be able to do that via this pre-boarding process, right? So this can be very tailored depending on your needs, but it's a great way to gather all the required information from the candidate so that we can make sure that they're onboarded successfully. So from there, that employee is now a new member of the team and brought on board. Okay, so from there, we can launch some additional onboarding processes, like add them to a program where we're going to set up their equipment or make sure that they get partitioned, things like laptops, mobile phones, and so forth. But for brevity, I'm going to skip over that today, but definitely something that we can cover in more details in a more detailed demonstration for you if you'd like to dive into it a little bit further. Okay. So that wraps up the demo portion of today's meeting. Just a couple minutes over. Definitely wanted to keep some time for Q&A, so we can certainly do that now. So with that, Nilan, I'll pass it back over to you to kick off that process.
Thanks, Matt. That was certainly a good demo, even from my point of view. We have a couple of questions from the team.
Sure.
So let me open up the first one. How do we update who gets email notifications when leave is requested and approved, etc.? Do you want me to repeat the question?
How do we get updates via email when leave is requested or approved?
Yes, correct.
All right, so whoever's asking that is a real technical person, but certainly yes. So anytime a leave request is submitted, an email will go out to the person who needs to approve it. They'll also get a notification on their dashboard. We can even set up a push notification on the mobile phone if that's something that you're interested in having. But yes, that's something that's configured in the back end of the software upon the initial implementation process. But certainly it's, and it's not just for things like leave, it's if someone submitted a performance appraisal or anything like that. Anytime that you need to be notified that an action has been taken, that can be set up with the requisite people getting notified via email. Hope that answers the question, but please let us know if it doesn't clarify.
All right, I'm going to jump into the second question. Is the clock in, clock out feature used with facial recognition? What would we need to start utilizing this feature?
Yeah, great question. So just to give some context on it, within the time tracking module, which we didn't really cover today, I did show on the dashboard, if you recall, the ability to punch in and punch out on the dashboard or via the mobile app. Now, certainly many of our clients, this just isn't feasible or reasonable. They have employees that will clock in and out through some type of third-party device, and that's quite common, right? And that third-party device can be something like a key card swipe, or it certainly could be, as described, a facial recognition device. But that's really up to the client and what their requirements are for that type of thing. So if you do have a requirement for facial recognition, you would just need to buy a time or a clock in device that does facial recognition for that purpose, and we can integrate with it so that can be the entry or exit point for the employee. Hope that clarifies, but again, please let us know if you'd like further information on that.
No problem. I think Noel has a follow-up question. This is, Matt, the question raised regarding the email notifications.
Sure.
So the follow-up question is, how do we change who gets the email notifications? Maybe the person left the organization already. So.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure if that's something that's changed on the front end, although it may be. In fact, Nilan, that might be a better question for you, in fact.
Yes. So let me answer that question. So yes, we can change it from the front end, which is if you go to the HR administration, the email notifications do allow you to change the subscribers. So that is where you control who receives those notifications. So it is something that you can control. But if you have any further questions, do feel free to drop an email to our Gold support email address. I'll send it to you on the chat itself. So do send your request through there. So one of our support engineers or someone from the implementation team will definitely help you out on that.
Yeah, that's a quick fix and definitely something we can help you out with over a 5-minute call if you're having any trouble doing it yourself.
And I think she has another question.
Sure.
She's asking, can we do fingerprint scanning through the biometric device?
Again, yeah, that's up to the biometric device itself. So to be clear, OrangeHRM doesn't have any hardware ourselves. We work with third-party vendors in this area, right? So companies like CAMS or ZK Teco or a number of other ones. In fact, many of our clients come to us with their existing hardware and we'll integrate with it. Now, certainly we're always going to need to learn the specifics of the device, but oftentimes if you have a device, we can work to integrate with it. So if the need is, say, a fingerprint device, you can check with us before purchasing that device, and we can do some research on if we're able to integrate. And most of the time we are. There are a few occasions in which for some reason, the hardware would be incompatible, but it's not very common. So just check with us quickly on the device that you might be looking to purchase. And if that device is a fingerprint scanner, certainly we'll check and see if it's compatible with integration to OrangeHRM, so that you can be informed of that before purchasing that device. But many of our clients use fingerprint scanning devices as well as facial recognition devices for the punch in, punch out. But again, that's all third party, right? It's all devices like ZK Teco or others that our clients tend to use.
And the next question, Matt, is what's the cost for each module?
Yeah, so that's definitely a question we'd like to take offline with you, right? So there's different costs for different modules, and the cost is also dependent on number of employees, right? So for those elements, please reach out to us at sales@orangehrm.com, and we'll definitely have a discussion with you on that.
All right. Let me go to the next question. There's a question, how can I log into OrangeHRM with my admin account in addition to my user accounts, since we are currently using single sign-on?
Yeah, so that's probably more of a support question as well. Something that, any questions with regards to individual issues around things like login, absolutely, we're more than happy to help, and we can help you today. Please direct those to Gold Support, and we'll work with those questions on an individual basis.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, how can you edit an employee status? For an example, active, terminated, or suspended?
Sure. So within the employee profile, those employee statuses, some of them, now typically with the employee status, that's an entry that is managed by the initial setup. So if there's additional statuses that we need to add for your particular instance, again, we can work with you on making sure that those get added appropriately. And then within the employee profile, I think those are basically all in the job tab within the profile. An administrator or someone that has the rights to change that information would have to go in and make that change on the employee's profile itself.
All right. So moving on to the next question, how does AI goal generation work?
That's a great question. Yeah. So in terms of AI features, which we didn't cover in great detail here today, but there's a number of them, and I'll highlight this quickly. So we have a number of different AI solutions within the application. One is Citra, which is your personal AI assistant. So a little chatbot that sits in the corner of every screen where you can just pop that up and ask questions. We have AI-driven smart goal generation. And the way this really works is that it looks at all the goals that have previously been achieved within the system at a similar level of the employee in question. So if we're talking, a support specialist, right? So what are your typical goals for support specialists? What's the tenure of this particular support specialist? Are they a brand new employee? Have they been here for several years, etc.? And what has their goal attainment been in the past? So what should we set their potential future goal attainment or new goals at in the future? So the AI algorithm will help you generate those goals and give you options to then make live for that employee as their future goals, right? So the AI piece really helps you generate those goals based on historical data and everything that we know about the employee at the moment. Hope that answers the question.
All right. So the last question, how have the AI integrations been working? Have you had many OHRM users, as in the clients, of course, used the AI add-ons? She has recently seen a few demos and they seem to be great. And thanks for that.
Yeah, the AI elements have certainly been well received, and they're absolutely in their infancy, right? So we've only really had them live for, I suppose, several months at this stage. I think the most commonly used one at this stage is in recruitment. So AI-powered CV or resume summarization and ranking. Our clients have really provided fantastic feedback around that, and said that it's been especially useful for them in helping them create shortlists and expedite their recruitment process. But then certainly Citra, the AI assistant, there that we're able to integrate in things like Microsoft Teams and other areas has been very well received as well. So there, the capabilities that these will encompass will only increase, right? We're in the crawl, walk, run stage of life. We're barely into the crawl stage on what we're going to be able to do to make life easier for our customers leveraging AI. But yeah, so this is really just the start. But there's a lot of great areas in which we're going to be leveraging this moving forward.
Right. So I think due to the time constraints, we will not be able to answer all the questions from Matt. But what we'll do is we'll reach out to you separately on those questions. So we'll definitely answer those questions. Don't worry about it. So again, everybody, thanks for joining. I hope the demo was fantastic and you learned about the system and all the capabilities that we are reaching out to our clientele. So if you have any follow-up questions, I think Matt covered this. The email address is sales@orangehrm.com, and one of our sales representatives will be able to help you out if you want to learn more about the modules, adding new modules, and if you are a new client of ours or you are hoping to be a new client of ours, please do reach out to our sales team and they'll help you out with any questions you might have. All right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and thanks for spending some time with us here. And
Thank you, everybody.
we'll talk to you all again soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.